Well, hello there, what's up? Carmando here. Welcome to my WWE Backlash 2016 review. And going by a lot of people's reaction, they seem to think this is the best pay-per-view of the year. I think people seem to be going more in terms of the winners of the matches and not actual match quality. I would agree with that, and maybe the winners of the matches, there's the pay-per-view of the year, I guess. But match quality, no. It's just not. I wouldn't say that at all. Um, but let's just get straight into it. I want to start with the pre-show because there were some things to talk about there. Um, we, doing the usual stuff, pre-show stuff, talking about stuffs. But there was a backstage thing with Apollo Crews and Daniel Bryan, and Bryan was telling me to sort of like loosen up, and they start like joking around or what have you. I don't know. I think somebody mentioned something about Cruz could be a good heel or something. I don't know. Maybe they could try it. I don't know. But Corbin comes in and he disagrees with what they're saying and says that he beat Dean Ambrose and he wasn't being rewarded. He wasn't even on SmackDown and all this stuff and not on Backlash. And Cruz said he's free to kick Corbin's ass. And then Daniel Bryan made a match for Corbin and Cruz on the kickoff. Which happened later in the show. I thought it was a good little segment. It was odd, but it was good at the same time. I liked that they were trying to at least build to the match a bit. I guess I just thought it was a good little segment. And the other thing about the pre-show was the social media lounge thing with Heath Slater and Rhino. It was really funny. Talking about the bloody above ground pool and Heath's kids going for driving without a license and all this stuff. It was just really, really good. Really, really funny. I enjoyed it. And after that, they were just talking about stuffs. Also, Alexa Bliss came on and she was looking like a badass. It says here she looked like Harley Quinn. I don't really know what she looks like, so I'll just go with it. But she had like, her lipstick was like pink, blue, and then pink, blue. It looked really cool, and she had the bloody piggy tail things or ponytails, whatever it's called. She looked badass. I thought she looked really good. And she's really evil. She's so good at her character. Like King and that was talking to her, and she's just like the perfect like evil bitch, I guess. She's so good at that role. Like I remember when she turned heel back in NXT, I thought, I don't think this is gonna work. We'll see what happens. But she proved that she's a much better heel than a face, in my opinion. She's just nailing it. But we get on to the Apollo Crews and Baron Corbin match, and surprisingly, this was a great match, and I'm going to say it. It was the best match of the show, in my opinion. In terms of match quality, best match of the show. It lasted 9 minutes 55 seconds. Great match. Honestly, a great match. Like when it was finished, I was like, damn, that was a great match. That was a really good match. Like JBL and that was saying the same thing. It was just straight up action from start to finish, back and forth. They were both getting in really good moves. Like some of the moves were coming out with, like we hadn't seen these moves before. There was like a little botch at the beginning, I think, where like Corbin was supposed to like throw Cruz over the turnbuckle, and he didn't actually do it, and Cruz tried, try to, I don't know, work through it, and they did it again. But honestly, it was a really good match. I couldn't believe how good it was. They were both pumping up good moves. Eventually, I was kind of sad that Corbin won, 'cause I was like, oh, I kind of like Cruz to win, but it was a great match. It eventually, it comes down to they're in the corner and they're battling, and Cruz like goes for like a clothesline or something. And Corbin, it says he counters with a right hand. He didn't. He countered with a knee to the face. I'm sure it was this match. I think, anyway. I'm sure he kneed him in the face and then hit the end of days and won. It was a great match, honestly. Great match. Go and see it. You can see it on YouTube. You can see it wherever. Great match. Definitely worth seeing. After that, they talk about Dean Ambrose and their match, and the pre-show ends, and then it opened up with a thing about the 9/11 attacks, talking about that, and then the opening. And then Shane McMahon and Daniel Bryan come out and they're talking about thanking the crowd for thanking all the people. Also, the crowd sucked. The crowd sucked the entire show. I think it hurt the show a lot because originally this would have been like a house show, and I don't think like your hardcore fans and what have you got a chance to get tickets for the show. But the crowd was awful all night. They did sort of light up a bit. The time they lit up was Heath Slater. When Heath Slater and Rhino came out, they sort of, went nuts a bit. I mean, shows you how over Heath Slater is. And then the next best reaction would have been AJ Styles when he came out. They were really loud then, but the rest of the night they were really quiet. I think it was just because, like I said, not a lot of hardcore fans there. But Daniel Bryan and Shane come out and they're thanking all the crowd and all this stuff. About keeping Team Blue's momentum going. Talk about all the matches and say that the SmackDown Women's match is gonna kick off the show. And it lasted 40 minutes 40 seconds. And Becky Lynch won to become the first ever SmackDown Women's Champion. When the match sort of like first started, I thought, don't tell me it's going to go this way, where it was just going to be like two people fighting and then everybody else would be out. It was starting to go that way, but then, they got into it and it was more sort of, action packed and everybody got their moves in. It's not like there was like rest holds or any of that crap. They were all just, going for it, doing all their stuff. And also, Naomi really needs to come up with like some sort of like cool little dance routine in her entrance, and like the whole light thing, that's cool. Like when she's on the stage, she should have like some sort of cool little thing, even if it just lasts like 10 seconds or something. It just feels like she comes out and just sort of wings it and does much or nothing really. She did something cool when she got in the ring. When she's on the stage, she should have some sort of cool routine or something. Just my opinion. But apart from that, the whole light thing, I think it's awesome. She even has her bloody fingernails has this weird whatever that is stuff that she has it on her fingernails as well. Like it's crazy, but it's cool. But anyways, the match gets going. Eventually I'll talk about all the eliminations. Alexa Bliss got eliminated first via a powerbomb blockbuster combo from Natalia doing the powerbomb and Naomi doing the blockbuster. Morrow went a little bit nuts for that, which eliminated Alexa Bliss. Now this next elimination I thought was stupid. It doesn't explain it well here, but this I didn't like the way Naomi was eliminated. She got hot with the TKO by Nikki. No, sorry. She got hot with a bloody... She came off the top rope and got nailed with a forearm by Nikki, and it looked brutal. It looked like a good way to eliminate someone. But then Natalya comes in and throws Nikki into the ring post and puts her in the sharpshooter, and then Naomi tapped out. I thought that was such a stupid way for her to be eliminated. It didn't make sense. Like the Nikki thingying her with the forearm, seemed like a good elimination to me. Then they knocked her in that, and then it just didn't seem right to me, in my opinion. After that, though, Nikki Bella gets eliminated. What the fuck is this? What is it saying here? And Natalya gets pinned and Carmella pins Nikki. What? I don't remember this. It says Nikki picks Natalya up and slams her down with an Argentine backbreaker, and Natalya gets pinned, and then Carmella pins Nikki. Yeah, Morrow called it that. I was like, what the fuck, Morrow? It was a TKO. It was a simple TKO, and he was calling it this bloody fancy schwancy Argentine backbreaker. That's right, and Natalya got pinned by that, and then Carmella rolled up Nikki, and they have like a bit of a push off, and Nikki slaps Carmella, and Carmella was like pissed about that. Eventually Becky starts going nuts with the Bex Plexes, and then Carmella, she sort of came back a bit, and then she was just walking about, which I thought was so weird. She was just sort of walking about, not doing much, and then all of a sudden Becky locks in the disarmor and tapped her out. But it was weird. She just started walking around her, not doing anything, and then Becky hit on the thing, and boom, she won. She became champion. It was cool. It was a pretty decent match. It was a pretty good match. I was expecting more. It, like I said, it was a little bit. No, I wouldn't say it was sloppy, but it could have been, better. In my opinion, there was also a cool. I just noticed a thing there. Nikki also had a cool Alabama slam at one point. But after that, she thanks the crowd and says it's her first time she's held the title, and thanks the fans and all that stuff. After this, there's a thing with Miz where he meets the kid from Nickelodeon. What was his name? I looked it up earlier. Jagger Eaton, some little kid. He had something on the pre-show where he was talking to him. I can't remember if it was on the pre-show or during the actual main show. Maybe it was during the main show. But he seems like such a cool kid. Like, usually kids that age are like immature and annoying and have got attitude. He just seemed like a cool, easy to talk to kid. Like, there's like a dick at my work who's like a few years older than him, and he's just an arrogant prick, to be quite honest. And that guy's younger, and he's more mature than him. I thought that was crazy. But anyways, he's talking to this kid, and the Miz saying about his bloody Marine movies and stuff, and the kid invites Miz to be on the show unless he can get Cena or something, and Miz gets pissed off, and then he slams the door and says, "Have your people call my people." It was funny. Then after this, we see Bray Wyatt attacking Randy Orton backstage. He's like slamming a door on his leg, because just before like the show was announced, it was sort of revealed that Orton wasn't cleared to compete due to the Brock Lesnar busting him open. He wasn't cleared to compete, but he did hit an RKO, but we'll get to that. After this, we're on to the first tag match, which lasted 10 minutes 11 seconds. I don't know if I mentioned the last time, but it was 14 minutes 40 seconds. Did I say 10 seconds? 11 seconds? 10 minutes 11 seconds, you know what I meant. The Usos defeated the Hype Bros in an utterly boring match, to be honest. I don't understand it. Like, I get heels, they're supposed to be cowards. Most of the time they're cowards or what have you, but when they beat the crap out of the bloody American Alpha and then they come out here and now they're just pussies all of a sudden, like, not all heels need to be cowards. You could have these guys come out and be dominant, but no, they're like bloody scared of fucking Mojo Rawley. Come on. And they had this new look. I thought they looked badass, but then they were just like pussies. And then it started off okay, the Hype Bros were getting in some good moves. And then eventually it was just fucking rest holds. It did sort of pick up, I guess, near the end again. Like Mojo Rawley at one point came flying round the outside and both of the Usos with like a double clothesline or something, nailed him in the barricade. But then again later in the match he came to do it again, but then he got sent into the barricade. Jay takes out Ryder's knee, then Jimmy gets in the ring and then Jay does the kick thing and then locks in that single crab thing and Ryder taps out. I just thought it was a boring match. They could have been. I'm not saying they had to squash the Hype Bros, but they could have. It could have been so much. They could have done it better. The Usos, they could have came out and been dominant, but then they're just scared. I understand how heels and that work, but they don't all need to be pussies. It just didn't make sense. Didn't make sense to me. But crap match, in my opinion. Just a basic tag match you see all the time. After this, Renee's backstage and they're talking to Heath Slater and Rhino. And like Slater's talking, and then it looks as though he goes away and he thinks he's off camera, and he's talking about like his wife Beulah's cooking or something about crab cakes or something, and it wasn't good, and he's having stomach problems or something, and Rhino's like, "Oh, we're still live," and and then Slater like plays it off as if he just like he's like, oh, you've been swerved, and then he like almost shits himself, and then he's like, oh, I gotta go. It was a funny little segment. I love these two, Slater and Rhino. They're awesome. Love these guys. After that, there's a thing for the Connor's Cure, the Cruiserweight Classic thing. And then we look at the video package and we're on to Miz and Ziggler, which Miz won, 18 minutes 22. Not really a whole lot to say about this match, you know. It had its moments. It was, you know, it was action, you know, from start to finish. Miz was doing Daniel Bryan's moves. I read the same thing on the house shows, that he was doing Daniel Bryan's moves, like the surfboard thing and the corner drop kicks, which I thought was quite cool to see him doing that. But it wasn't like an amazing match, you know. It was action packed, you know, but it wasn't like a memorable match, you know. It wasn't like a Cena Styles where you're like on the edge of your seat wondering what the hell is going to happen, or any epic moments, you know. It was just a decent match, but just not an amazing match, you know. Eventually Ziggler hits a super kick after, you know, Miz like working his leg on the figure four and stuff. He goes for the pin, but Miz just gets his foot on the rope. Eventually Ziggler throws Miz back in the ring, and then Maurice, like the ref gets caught up or something. Maurice sprays stuff in Ziggler's eyeballs. Miz rolls him up, and Miz hits the skull crushing finale, sorry, and then he gets the win via that. After that, you know, they go to the pre-show. The pre-show panel people, as they're talking about stuff, and they show the Baron Corbin match. And after this, Bray comes to the ring, and he wins against Orton via forfeit, because he does the 10 count thing. So after this, like, the ref gets held a note and says, like, he got a note before saying about Orton not being cleared, and he got another note saying that he's going to have a no holds barred match against this man, and out comes Kane. So technically, the Bray Wyatt Randy Orton match, it was considered a match, 24 seconds. But then Kane match, which Kane won, surprisingly. I mean, the way it happened, you know, sort of believable, but I thought, well, Bray's going to win this one, but no. 10 minutes 55. You know, an alright match. I'm glad it was no holds barred, but I felt there should have been more weapons used. You know, they should have had Singapore canes and garbage cans and everything, but they did. They used the chair, they used the bell. Bray came with a bell. Eventually, they got the announce tables, you know, opened up and cleared out or what have you, and Bray went on the middle one, like where Morrow and that was, and then ran on to the Spanish one and did the like running senton thing, which was a pretty cool moment. Onto Kane, that was pretty sweet. And right before he did it, he did the Randy Orton thing. That actually got a reaction out of the crowd. You know, the bloody the crowd was just awful, but at times they did react at times. But eventually it gets in the ring. Wyatt tries to go for Sister Abigail, but then Kane hits a chokeslam. Kane's like getting the chair in position, is going for the tombstone. But Wyatt counters and hits the Uranagi. Kane kicks out. Randy Orton starts hobbling his ass out to the ring. Hits an RKO. Then Kane hits the chokeslam and wins. So he was cleared to do an RKO, just not a match, I guess. I just, like, the way it was done, I was like, okay, believable, but Bray should have won. You know, Bray should have gotten the win here. I don't know. I don't know how they can recover him. There was a thing, I was reading an interview where Big Show says he'd like to see Eric Rowan get a push, and I agree. He says he's like been improving and what have you. I think he could be this, like, I guess, I guess the way it would describe it would be something from like Outlast or something, where he's this like bloody absolute nutcase, and could like beat somebody up, and then he could take them out to like I don't know, like some shed thing or something, and he could like torture them or just have them like strapped up and their mouth taped, and he says all this weird random shit and like beats them up and what have you. I think it could work. Like he's like some of the stuff he's like posted on Twitter and what have you. I think it could work. I do. Just give it a chance, you know. I think he has a perfect look for a maniacal thing like that, you know. Do it. But after this, AJ Styles comes across some like two local guys, and he says they're like destined for failure, but that shouldn't let them bother him. And he says that you can say that you met AJ Styles on the night he became world champion. It's a random little segment. It was funny. After this, there's a preview thing for all the network shows, and there's a promo for the next SmackDown pay-per-view, No Mercy, which is in a month's time, October 9th. No need for this, just 1 month Raw, 1 month SmackDown, but that would be logic. After this, we are on to the next tag match, Heath Slater and Rhino versus the Usos, and much like the first one, although I would say this one was worse, it was just a rest hold fest, and also it was 10 minutes 2 seconds, but Rhino and Heath Slater won, baby. When they actually won, I was like pretty happy, but the match was so shit. It honestly was just so much fucking rest holds. Eventually the Rhino was, the crowd was getting into, trying to get Heath to get the hot tag, but it was so boring. Just rest holds, like, come on. We're capable of more than that. It's so fucking... That's what pisses me off, is I'm not expecting some fucking, crazy moves and what have you, but give it a rest with the fucking rest holds, for fuck's sake. Just do some moves, some action. But no, let's just sit here and fucking put this already asleep crowd to sleep even more, But eventually it comes down to Slater getting the hot tag, and he comes in and hits the neck breakers, like the neck breaker RKO style, to both Usos. He delivers the execution, or like the Impaler DDT thing, goes for the cover, Jay pulls him out, Slater sends Jay to the announce table. Jimmy takes Slater out with a super kick, but then Rhino runs in and hits the gore while the ref isn't looking. Then Slater, recovers and gets the win. The ending was cool. The rest of it was, pretty terrible. But it was, really cool. After the match, Slater thanks Shane McMahon and Daniel Bryan, says it's the best moment of his life, apart from maybe the birth of a couple of his kids. And he says that they're getting the double wide caravan thing, and him and Rhino are celebrating. It was funny. I love these guys. I'm so glad they became champions. I'm just looking forward to some funny segments with them too, because it's just been pure gold. Apart from this match, but everything else has been brilliant with the Heath Slater storyline. After this, there's the bloody KFC commercial with Miz and that, and the promo for Clash of Champions, and then we're on to the main event. We are. I didn't think it was that close, but it is. And the match lasted 25 minutes 1 second. It was quite a long match. And I would say it, was a good match. It was a good match. It got like near the last few minutes or so was pretty good, and some surprising stuff happened. But a lot of it was just was like, okay, this is okay, this is decent. But nothing amazing, similar to some of the other matches I was talking about. It did have its moments, it did have its moments, like Ambrose had that wheelbarrow sit-out thing that he does, or the Glamazon, and AJ was working on the legs, doing the Calf Crusher, which I think is just an awesome looking move. I just love it. I think it's so cool. Just sort of flicking through this recap here, just to see what's going on. Styles comes back and slams Ambrose down with a sit-out powerbomb. I don't remember this, but speaking of a sit-out powerbomb, I do remember Miz hitting that on Ziggler, where he like bounced him off the ropes and then hit a sit-out powerbomb. That was pretty cool. Itchy earlobe. After this, I don't remember this. I don't remember this sit-out powerbomb thing, but after this, there's a springboard 450 splash by AJ Styles, and he hit it with like an insane amount of impact. It looked awesome. He hits the cover, but kicks out. Styles goes for a discus clothesline, but Ambrose counters with a neckbreaker. Okay, and then Ambrose sort of like did his comeback, and then this was nasty. Ambrose, like Styles, was on the in between the bottom and middle ropes, like sort of sitting there, and he sort of like fell back, and he just caught himself. And Ambrose hit this fucking nasty drop kick, and I mean nasty. That hit him with some serious impact. I was like, oh my god. And JBL was the same. I think Kotunga was saying stuff. And then he hit the suicide dive, or a tope suicida as it says here. And Ambrose like throws bloody AJ Styles on top of JBL pretty much. He sort of like landed on his leg. I thought I seen him like later on, JBL like sort of hobbling a bit. I don't know if he got wrecked by it. But he after that, Ambrose tosses AJ into the crowd, and he jumps off the announce tables into the crowd. They get back into the ring. Ambrose goes for the clothesline, but Styles with the Pele kick. And then Ambrose does the lunatic lariat. Then Ambrose picks him up, going for the dirty deeds. Styles shoves him into the referee. The referee's sort of down. I was like, oh, what are we going to get here? And Styles is like, looking at him. I thought I'd bloody seen a Spider-Man wall there, but no. He's looking, and then he just hits a low blow. Hits the Styles Clash, and when he was hitting the Styles Clash, I thought I was getting a little bit worried, because Ambrose wasn't putting his arms behind his legs. Like AJ was, you could see him like wriggling about trying to get him to do it, and I thought, oh my god, please don't fuck this up and botch it. But no, he did hit it. He didn't. He still, I'm glad if Ambrose hadn't had his head back, things would have been bad. Because he didn't like get a proper jump at it. He just sort of like, he did jump, but he didn't get the usual, momentum or impact or what have you as he usually does. But he hit the Styles Clash and got the win. I was happy for him. It just like that last sort of bit that I discussed with the drop kick. That's when it picked up. That's when it started getting good. After that nasty drop kick, that last few minutes was really good. The rest, was good, just not memorable or amazing. That's my only thing about it. But that last few minutes was, really good. And after the match, AJ, exits the ring and holding the title, and Morrow saying that does this tarnish him being the champion or what have you, because of the low blow or whatever. And I was like, no, Morrow, he's a champion. Well, I think that's what JBL said as well. It's like, oh, he's a champion. It doesn't matter what you do, as long as you win. That's all that matters. But yeah, he just has a new champion. Pretty cool. And I thought he looked badass with the title. He looked really good. The title looks good on him. He was also using a grey and black combo this time. I like to see all the different colours he comes up with, because like AJ Styles' ring gear is sort of I think like the perfect looking ring gear in my opinion. I always enjoyed his stuff, like even when he was back in TNA. I always thought he had like the perfect like color combinations and what have you for ring gear. I love it. But yeah, that's Backlash. I would probably give it like a C. I would give it a solid C. But honestly, best match is Corbin and Cruz, and when it happened, after the match happened, I was like, damn, that was a really good match. And I think I might have said this, but JBL said it as well. I thought that I did. I really thought that was a really good match. I was surprised at how good it was. I'm just checking to see if there's anything else here. I was watching the um, the Fallout videos, and Becky Lynch's one says she's going to take the championship to bed, and I'm assuming just by that title alone that's the reason it has 67,000 views, while all the other videos only have like 10,000 or 20,000 or something like that. Even AJ Styles' one only has 24,000, where this one has like 67,000. But something I seen. Did anyone else see that "Dicks Out for Harambe" sign? I couldn't believe I seen that. That thing doesn't really make sense to me. How is it such a thing now when like the Harambe thing happened months ago, but people are going nuts about it now. I have looked up the whole meme thing, still don't really like get it. Why it's such a thing now? But you know, some of the comments are pretty funny, like the one where it's like the ABC, like the whole alphabet, but the D isn't there, and it says something like what's what do you notice about this? The D is out for Harambe. You know, I thought it was pretty funny the first time I seen it. I thought I've seen it quite a few times now. People are like, oh, that's unoriginal, but I think that's actually quite original. I thought that was really funny the first time I seen it. I got a good laugh out of it, but I still don't really get the whole "dicks out for Harambe" thing. It just seems like I don't know. I don't really get it. But that's the pay-per-view. Decent enough pay-per-view. Not the best pay-per-view. I think people are just saying that because of who won, not actually match quality. But it could have been so much better. It could have. This whole 2 pay-per-views a month. It just does. You don't need to do it. It just isn't necessary. You could have had so much more time to build it up. The matches, in my opinion, could have been so much better. Too much rest holds in the tag matches. But you know, it's happened. Can't change it now. It's happened. But I just wish the matches were better. That's my only complaint about it. The people who won, I was okay with. Just the matches could have been better. And it looks like Nikki Bella and Carmella feud's going to continue, which is good. SmackDown will probably be using all the women anyway. I'm sure there'll be something maybe with Natalya and Alexa Bliss and Naomi. I'm interested to see what's going to happen on SmackDown now. Like Raw, I don't really care. I mean, apart from the Kevin Owens as the Universal Champion. Apart from that, you know, it just not really much happening on Raw really. But like when speaking of Kevin Owens, when he won the title, that was an awesome moment. I forgot to mention that in the predictions, but I watched that and I didn't know what was happening, what was going to happen, and it was just an amazing moment. Like Triple H came out, that was just such an amazing moment. Like when it happened, I was like, yes. Like when Kevin Owens won, that was so cool. Like Triple H coming out totally blew my mind. Like I didn't see that coming at all. I thought that was really really cool. But I was something else I was considering doing yesterday was giving like a review on CM Punk his fight at the UFC. 'Cause I did watch it. I just watched it online. I've seen the match online. I don't even know where to watch it in the UK. But I seen it. I felt sad for him. I did. Like you could tell he really wanted it. And I thought he did okay. You know, for his first fight ever, I thought he did okay. I'm not big in MMA, but it just seemed like he sort of rushed in and then he got taken down and I thought he defended himself all right. You know, the guy Mickey Gall or whatever you try to put in the submissions that a few times, and he managed to block it. Eventually, you know, he fell to the submission, but I felt sad for him. You know, he you could tell he was disappointed, and like in his post interview thing at the conference, you know, he actually cried. You know, he actually cried because of like because he was so passionate about it and wanted to do well and what have you. I did feel really bad for him, but I hope he does well in his next fight. If there is a next fight, I don't think it's going to happen in UFC, but whatever it does, I would look forward to seeing how he progresses. Because Brock Lesnar, when he did it, he lost his first UFC fight. So you never know. But I think it could help him. A loss would maybe help him out. Make him change things up. Help him improve, I guess. But yeah, there's my thoughts on that. If you were interested, when I watched it, it felt so awesome to see him walking out and hearing the cult of personality. Like I got kind of a little bit emotional. Like I got a bit goosebumps while watching it. Because Punk's like probably my favorite wrestler of the last 10 years. Like I love CM Punk. I think he's awesome. So it was a really cool moment for me to see him coming out and hearing that music again. It's not the same without the little at the start, but I liked it. I enjoyed it. But yeah, that's the whole Backlash review, the UFC review. There's no other news or that been released, so I've nothing else to say. But definitely not best pay-per-view of the year. I'm not believing that, but I understand why people are saying it because of the whole who won. But in terms of match quality, no. But that's it. Thanks for watching. Be sure to subscribe. Hit that like button. I didn't think I would talk this long, but yeah, it's me. I like to ramble about wrestling. But that's it. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you for fucking Night of Champions in 2 weeks. Yay.